It's really not that important what meat-eating societies think about veganism, because it's pretty damn easy for meat eaters to brush this stuff aside, laugh it off, and make jokes about it. It's always easy for victimizers to mock and minimize the suffering of the victim, something we've done awfully well, unfortunately, when it came to forms of human-to-human oppression. And I understand some people think it's radical or silly when I say view an issue through the eyes of a cow, a pig, a chicken, a turkey, a fish, or some other animal on this planet. But understand that all social justice movements always look at the issue through the eyes of the victims. I mean, abolitionists looked at slavery through the eyes of enslaved blacks, while the Allied forces looked at Nazism through the eyes of Jews and other non-Aryans that Hitler labeled unworthy and expendable. If you utilize empathy, man, it truly allows you to understand the injustice without overanalyzing the issue. Please do not overanalyze and overthink what I'm talking about tonight. There's just no need to. This is simple stuff. This is compassion, decency, and mercy and kindness. I'll break it down even further for everybody. When I say use empathy, all I'm saying is use the golden rule. Actually put it to use for a change. Instead of just paying lip service to it like most people do. And the golden rule, by the way, is in all religions in one way or another. Even atheists say it's a wise way to live your life, because the golden rule simply states that you should treat others. And animals do qualify as others, no matter how you look at this issue. You should treat others like you would want to be treated. You should do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And since no one in this classroom, I'm positive, wants to be treated the way we treat cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys and fish and most other animals, again, there's no reason to allow speciesism to continue unabated. Now, I have to drive this point home a little further about discrimination, because so many people have a hard time comprehending the fact that humans are acting in a vile, discriminatory way towards the animals that they share this planet with. But as the speech goes on, I sure hope you start to figure out that the same exact asinine and idiotic and vicious and vile excuses and rationalizations that people always use to oppress, enslave, and kill the animals, they are the exact same asinine and moronic excuses that we have used to oppress, enslave, and kill each other. Whether it was whites over blacks, Latinos and Asians, men over women, straight people over gay people, all the religious hatred, the religious wars that have been going on for thousands of years. You know, a sad comment that I hear a lot when I travel this country, and I do a lot of lecturing nowadays, around 250 talks a year in 20 states to around 10,000 students. I hear a lot of people make a comment like this to me. Hey, Gary, well, man, your speech was pretty tight, man. You surprised me. You make a lot of sense, and you do make some pretty great points, except you're talking about animals. They're just fish. They don't look like us. They don't act like us. They don't think like us. So they don't deserve any moral consideration whatsoever. They don't deserve their right to be free and their right to bodily integrity. Well, the problem with that line of thinking, when you go back a couple of hundred years ago in slavery America, and activists like William Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass were trying to abolish slavery, what do you think the majority of white people were saying about blacks? Oh, come on, they're just blacks. They don't look like us. They don't act like us. So they don't deserve any moral consideration whatsoever. They don't deserve their right to be free and their right to bodily integrity. Go back 87 years ago, before the 19th Amendment was enacted giving women the right to vote. When women were trying to obtain their equal say in society, what do you think the men were constantly saying? Oh, come on, they're just women. They don't look like us. They don't act like us. Not as smart as we are. Not as strong as we are. I always love that form of logic from men. Not as strong as we are. So they don't deserve their equal say in society? The moment we start playing this asinine fill-in-the-blank game. Fill-in-the-blank game goes like this. They're just blacks, they're just women, they're just homosexuals, oh, they're just immigrants, they're just Mexicans, they're just Iraqis, they're just animals, they're just cows, and they're just fish. It is an asinine, stupid, and invalid excuse to harm somebody else. To commit acts of cruelty and injustice against someone else. Peaceful, compassionate ways of being unjust do not exist. And that's because violence is violence. Cruelty is cruelty, discrimination is discrimination, and premeditated murder is premeditated murder, even if the victims only walk on all fours and have fur and feathers and horns and beaks or gills. I hope you didn't really believe that happy cows come from California, and animals sing and dance on the way to the slaughterhouse and wind up at the grocery store all magically wrapped in plastic. It is amazing the things that we do to animals on a daily basis. And we have the audacity to think that we are civilized. And the animals have not done one single thing to us to deserve the wrath and the cruelty that we hurl on them. Not a single justification. Not one. For what we do to these innocent beings. I want to let everyone know that around 11 years ago, when I was still consuming the cut-up corpses of dismembered animals, and I am not being dramatic when I say that, I'm just fed up with the lies. I am. I've had enough of the euphemisms. So I hope right now people understand, maybe for the first time ever, what meat actually is. It is the cut-up corpse of a dismembered and tortured animal. It's a dead body sliced up into really small pieces. I used to come up with insane excuses like everyone else to eat flesh. I hope you don't think I was any different. No different. God says it's okay. Well, that's why I put the animals here. Oh, but it tastes so good. Oh, but I need my protein. Oh, but if we don't kill the animals, they're going to overpopulate and take over the world. You don't think I know the same idiotic excuses and rationalizations that everybody else uses? Man, I used them for years myself. I used to come up with the most invalid reasons to justify torture and cruelty against innocent beings. Not to allow animals into my circle of compassion until I finally understood something. And it was the cold hard truth that I was complicit in all the violence. Animals were being tortured and killed so I could have a sandwich later on that day. Frankly, I am ashamed and embarrassed to admit that I ever once believed that I was more special than the animals, to think that they should have had to suffer and die intentionally on my behalf. Because I am no longer that arrogant and pretentious to think that my feelings or the feelings of my species are the only things that count on this planet and in this universe. Please understand, as meat eaters, we are all complicit in the violence. Now, we don't do the killing directly. And you think maybe there's a reason for that? Maybe because 99% of all human beings cannot take a 12-inch blade and shove it into somebody else's throat and start slicing and cut their head off? But we sure pay other people to do the dirty work for us. Capitalism. We live in a capitalist society, supply and demand. Corporations like Tyson and ConAgra, Smithfield and Purdue, companies like McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and KFC, they would not be producing a flesh product if there were no market for that flesh product. So don't for 1 minute think that you yourself cannot directly affect the lives of thousands of animals by just changing what you eat every day. From birth until death in America, every single meat eater consumes around 3,000 land animals. And thousands of other marine animals. Those are stats from the USDA. And collectively we are enslaving and killing 10 billion land animals in America every year and 18 billion marine animals in America every single year. And I hope people understand what I'm truly offering you tonight. It's quite special. You don't get this offered to you ever throughout your entire lifetimes. Do you realize when you hit the door after my speech that you can directly end a massacre? You can take part in directly ending a massacre. When has that ever been offered to you? Instead of just paying lip service to all the problems that are going on this planet that you are not even responsible for and that you are not even actively trying to end. I got to tell you something that drives me insane when I travel the country talking to so many thousands of people every year. Boy, everybody talks a good game. Everybody is such a smooth talker when it comes to peace and compassion. Everybody always wants to tell me, never show me, just want to tell me how peaceful and compassionate they are because of what they believe or what they're opposed to. Hey Gary, I believe in that and I'm opposed to that. And the genocide in Darfur, oh man, I'm opposed to that. And the war in the Middle East, mark me down, I'm opposed to that too. What other atrocity you got for me, man? Oh, that's horrible. Can you mark me down for being opposed to that too? Can somebody tell me, since when does opposing an atrocity make the world a better place? I'd like to know. I'd like to know, since when does opposing an atrocity alleviate or eliminate the atrocity? Listen, folks, I do understand most of you don't want to hear what I have to say tonight. I'm cognizant about that. But I hope you're aware that, as I stated earlier, I am no politician. I'm no bullshit artist. I'm not here trying to say something so I can scam your vote for next term. I'm not a PR person. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sell you a thing. I don't want your money. I don't want your email addresses, and I don't want your mailing addresses. I'm here to talk about the worst form of cruelty and violence taking place on this planet, bar none. Even though most people don't want to hear about it. But when you sit back in the comfort of your living room, condemning things that are going on elsewhere, my friends, that is pure, unadulterated lip service. That's the definition of lip service. And by the way, when everybody always tells me how opposed they are to the genocide in Darfur, besides the people doing the actual killing, who's for it? What kind of an opposition is this? It's everybody opposing. I got news for you. Unless you get on a plane and fly to the Sudan to help stop the genocide there, your opposition right here doesn't mean a damn thing. Not a damn thing. But this is a chance to walk the compassionate talk that everybody's always talking about. This is a chance to show others how truly peaceful you are. This is a chance for a personal revolution, to leave your mark on this planet, a very light mark, while you're here, by causing the least amount of harm. Veganism. And this is so blasphemous to me in so many ways, this God complex that we have, deciding who gets to live and who gets to die, who gets to procreate when and where. I don't even know where to begin with this condemnation. I don't. But I'm going to start by saying this. We are not gods. And we are not angels. Do I have to remind everybody about the things we've done to each other? Cambodia, Armenia, Serbia, the Inquisition, the Crusades, Holocaust, slavery, apartheid, Rwanda, Uganda, killing of Native Americans, burning of witches, Virginia Tech. Do I need to continue this list? Why people walk around acting like humans are the crown of creation? Why? Because we say please and thank you to each other? Because we open up the door for somebody else once in a while? Or maybe because we send out cards praying for peace on earth once a year. Just praying for it, because God forbid we should ever do anything to actually make it happen. But hey, every December, peace on earth to you. Hey, peace on earth, everybody. Hey, peace on earth to you. We have taken away so much from the animals because of our selfish, barbaric habits, rituals, and traditions, and convenience, and of course the root of all evil, profit, money. We've taken away their right to be free. There are two groups of people on this planet. The haves and the have-nots. The wealthy and the destitute. And I'm talking destitute. Not American destitute. Even our destitute people in America have cable TV and cell phones and running water. I'm talking third world destitute. When you look around this planet, what's killing destitute, impoverished people? Two things. Besides war, two things. Lack of clean water, dirty water. Lack of food, starvation. Starvation and dirty water. When did you ever hear of 10,000 Ethiopians dying from cancer? 100,000 Nigerians dying from heart attacks and strokes? Doesn't happen. Conversely, look to the affluent world, look to the Western world. What's everybody dying of? Heart attacks, strokes, cancers, and diabetes, diseases of wealth. Diseases of affluence, what we choose to put into our bodies every single day, that is killing us. I certainly know why people eat meat. We've acquired a taste for it, an addiction. It is the king of all addictions, by the way. Just so you know, cocaine, heroin, alcohol, cigarettes ain't got shit on meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. It is the king of all addictions. Look at the billions of beings that we murder, the ill health we bring into our bodies. The planet we're destroying, it is the king of all addictions. Now, I know we don't eat meat to be ethical. That's obvious. We don't eat meat to stay healthy. That's also obvious. And we certainly don't eat meat to alleviate world hunger. So when you're not vegan, you end up paying somebody to kill thousands of animals just for you throughout your lifetime. That's not only violent commodification and selfishness, it's pure hypocrisy. Because what if you were the victim? Remember, you have to examine all issues of injustice from the victim's point of view. And what if somebody commodified your body, labeled you stupid and dirty, mocked your entire existence, and said that your life didn't matter at all? I suppose you'd want the world to change its evil ways immediately, and hope that somebody like me would stand up, speak out, and defend your right to be free. Any injustice on that scale can only happen if the general population supports it or turns a blind eye to it. So the key players in the exploitation, government, religion, media, corporations, they become experts at lying and using propaganda and deceit to trick people into accepting the abuse. The dairy industry, for example, loves to tell you about happy cows. But what they don't tell you is that all these happy cows get raped every year, artificially impregnated with a bare hand or a long steel device to inject them with bull sperm. Female mammals have to be pregnant to produce and give milk. Mother cows then have their babies stolen from them after birth, because once we eliminate the babies from the equation, we get to drink all that milk instead. And when mother cows can produce huge amounts of milk after 3 to 7 years, they get a happy day at the slaughterhouse, where if they're really lucky, they'll get turned into a happy meal. Other companies love to lie about happy animals too. What about that "Wish I Were an Oscar Mayer Wiener" jingle? Well, that's pretty cute. Except for the fact that when they're born, male babies have their testicles ripped out without anesthetic. Standard practice. The meat industry always controls procreation. All the female pigs get raped every year to impregnate them, just like the cows. Baby pigs then have most of their teeth cut off, right down to the gum line, and their tails cut off too, all without anesthetic, to try and reduce flesh damage from fighting and biting each other in their overcrowded conditions. And when pigs reach 300 pounds in 6 months, thanks to genetic modification, they get a happy day at the slaughterhouse too, where they get chopped up into 1,000 pieces. The egg industry, though, man, they just might possess the greatest marketing propaganda of all time, because they've actually convinced you to eat something that came out of a hen's all-inclusive, all-in-one ass vagina. Yeah? The backside of a bird is called a cloaca. It is one hole where the poop, the pee, the vaginal fluid, and scrambled eggs and omelets come from. God says it's okay. It is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life to harm somebody else. Because if you believe that God gave us the architectural plans to construct a house of slaughter so we can cut the heads off of His terrified animals, that He doesn't mind when we steal newborn babies from their mothers, or cut their horns and beaks and tails and teeth off while they're fully conscious, then what does the devil do? What could a cow, a pig, a chicken, or a turkey ever do to deserve the wrath of God Himself or eternal damnation? I investigated like crazy, and I didn't believe PETA or any other animal rights person when they sent me information and told me foxes were being anally electrocuted on fur farms, or that 50% of all animals in slaughterhouses are dismembered while they're fully conscious. I was as skeptical as anybody. I'm like, no way, there are laws out there. There's no way animals are being treated like this. Well, I later broke into fur farms, broke into research labs, went behind the scenes of every circus that ever came through Michigan. I saw slavery firsthand. I heard their screams, and it was worse than what PETA told me. It was worse than what was on the videos. Just to sit there and watch and listen to the pigs scream one by one as they were being killed. I was no further than about 50 feet away from the killing floors, and I would just sit there and listen to them scream. And I later found out that there was a bishop from Britain, William Ing, who in an 18th century sermon once said that if animals ever formed an organized religion, the devil would be depicted in human form. I can't argue with that either. We must be the devil to animals.